also found the magic Luca sync button.
Oh, good. Okay. So we're starting Loon Sprint 2. This sprint spanned 4 weeks because we also had July 4th in there. So it'll end pretty much today, 7:20. We'll start with platform. Brian, do you want to go?
Yeah, cool. So in response to one of the security tickets, which specifically called out the fact that we use a regular TCP socket for intra-cluster communication, we did that by default, which was one of the concerns. And the other concern was that it was fairly arduous to actually set up TLS if you wanted to do so. So through a combination of making it easier to provide a single key store, and then looking for that in a default location and turning it on by default. We now, if you set up your cluster through STC or have done that in the past couple weeks, you should notice that your communication is encrypted.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Web UI? Stephen?
Hello. So yeah, we worked on updating the flow view, which I think relates to devices flows. Simon was working on that, so that was completed. We also added this new build step for the GUI. There's been a few issues currently, so we've reverted some stuff today. So I'll send an email out to Thomas and Brian and Ray to try and resolve those issues, because I can't find the root cause of the problem. So like, it works fine for me, it works fine on Jenkins, but then a few other people have been reporting issues, so we just need to dig a little bit deeper and get that ironed out before we push that back into master. We fixed a few bugs. So there was a bug that was caused from the minification of the JavaScript. So there's just a few syntax issues that when it was minified, it caused an issue in the way it compiled. And that's pretty much that to go.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. UI Brigade?
Yeah, hi. So for the Lion Brigade, we kind of took a fairly light load this sprint just to do some of the framework and also provide some pattern for Lion Brigade members to actually kind of pick up and run with. So we actually got done kind of halfway through the sprint, which was awesome. And also what's exciting to see is that we've actually got some people stepping up to the plate for Spanish, Italian, Korean, and 2 types of Chinese. And I'm sure that that will expand in the future to other languages too. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good story there.
Okay, thanks, Simon. And I really like how people have been including their burn down charts, especially when it reaches 0. Deployment? Yi, are you covering this?
So there's a VPS test. I think, John, you can, has Gorrington do this?
It's on, wait, sorry.
Yeah, the VPS test. You have any comments?
Yeah, so we just had a new test with network failures and node failures. So it's running now.
Yeah, okay, and the other, we have 2 in progress. First is there's some race condition issue for VPIs, and still working on it. And then the other is from, I think it's from community, the Juniper pipeline stuff. Yeah, okay, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Packet-Optical, Utah?
So most of the Packet-Optical related work is now working on the dynamic config stuff, but a few things specific to Packet-Optical was he was sort of injecting, when we want to specify certain lambda parameter, he was sort of hacked into the network config subsystem. Now it is became part of the intent, so they get properly go through the past computation process, simplified stuff. And another one is the test out the RPCs part of Open Rodent, but this one is sort of depending on dynamic config part, which is going through a little bit of API chain. So this will need to wait for that to happen in order to again. That's, I think it's Packet-Optical, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Yuta. Virtualization. Claudine can't join, so we'll go over this real quick. So there was some work done on OF agent to return port info, null pointer exception, a bunch of things waiting to be merged around consistent mastership store, revised intent service, and then in progress work on the virtual gateway and OF agent handling of LLDP message. And then dynamic configuration. I'm not sure if Aihua is here or Sitara.
So I guess I can also speak on this part also. So dynamic config part, so far I have been mainly focused on the redoing the RPC abstraction of it, and that design is almost has been finalized during this process, and it's now in there with the underlying structure. Other activity was the device synchronizer, which at the high level has been done. We are going into detailed design and running into several issues in the resource ID design and so on, and this question is still ongoing there. And the next one, the preserving order of children store, this is sort of like a bug fix that put on the plate, but the first one, the RPC one, was a little bit heavier than expected, so this one's going to be postponed to the next sprint. Second one, okay, this is, I guess, the consumer part of the RPC API and so on, which is making progress. Mostly done. We are under review and are going through tests on the Huawei side. And the last one is open config models for. So there's 7 known issues. 2 of them were solved, and we are still working on the other 5 of them. That's it for now.
Okay, thanks, Yuta. Northbound Brigade.
Okay, so we have 2 finished. First, Jordan, you want to give a comment?
Yeah, so on ONOS 6601, so we're modifying the resource service API. So there's a patch in for this, but I'm waiting for some feedback from Luca on it. He told me he wanted some changes, so waiting on that.
Okay.
And then actually, oh yeah, the other one. So the first one, 6721, there was an exception that I started seeing a lot of times in tests where services were loaded out of order. So that's
okay, so the 6775 is the bug of the forward intent installer, and it's fixed. And the other is non-destructive intent relocation, which is also is reviewing now. It's in progress. Yeah. And I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Interesting burn down chart, by the way.
Okay.
Just means a lot of stories were added.
Yeah. That's an eviction. Slap on the wrist.
Build and package brigade. Brian, are you covering this?
Sure, I can do that. This sprint, the Build and Package Brigade got a new member, someone by the name of Bharat from Verizon in India. So part of this is kind of helping him climb the learning curve. He's going to be helping Alexis with the first task that's in progress, enabling STC on Jenkins, so that we can get our integration and system level tests run as part of sort of at least master to begin with, and then eventually on check-in. The Build and Package Brigade is currently working on a survey for the community about various aspects of sort of environment, build process, documentation, familiarity, etc. This survey is going to go out to the community hopefully within the next week or so. They've also been working on enabling Eclipse support, primarily with Yuta's help, I guess, or Yuta's critique. And then there's also some ongoing experiments that Zach has been doing with repo, but he's been fairly busy over the past couple weeks with Cord. So yeah, not a lot of new progress, but a lot of groundwork continuing to be set, and a new member. So hopefully the velocity in future weeks can increase. There's some remarks at the bottom about the survey, specifically around Maven Eclipse usage. Choice of the brigade is also tasked with helping to revisit the overall project documentation. So they had some questions in the survey about that. The other thing is, the getting gRPC built using Buck and getting Maven supported are the last two remaining blockers they've currently identified, and then it'll be their task to remove the problems eventually, finally, maybe. The only thing that they've requested is sort of better response time from the core team, because some of the pull requests that they've had do tend to remain open. But I think we're doing what we can.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Yep.
P4 Brigade, Carmelo?
Yes, I'm here. So you can see the stories at the very high level. We continue working to get working support of P4 runtime in ONOS. As you can see from the bar down chart, we had some issues at the beginning, and the reason is that it took way longer than estimated to implement the actual protocol support for P4 runtime. This is because P4 runtime is not a well-documented protocol, so we had to reverse engineer the only switch implementing that, the server. So it took some time to get it working. We also encountered a lot of issues with gRPC and so on. So in terms of stories that are not completed, we have one which is under review, the one about the P4 runtime packet provider, and other two which are in progress. While there are two stories that would that have not been started, because we understood that we had to change a little bit the scope of this sprint. Yeah, so this all at the very high level, so ONOS now supports handshaking of devices via P4 runtime, so discovery. There is support for installing and retrieving flow rules. And what else? Some unit testing of PI core classes, and also we spent some time setting up the P4 environment at ON.Lab. And that's all.
Okay, thanks, Carmelo. SSU?
Yeah, so basically this sprint was all about finishing up foundational work for ISSU. So most of the sprint went towards finishing the Atomics 2 upgrade. That's done and merged. So pretty much what we have now is the ability to run ONOS nodes of different versions that can communicate to each other. But because the testing of the Atomics 2 changes ended up taking a lot longer than I expected, a lot of other stuff got pushed back. So 6756 replicating node version information, that's done, and it'll be submitted today or tomorrow. And then the upgrade service, still working on that. And so I've also been working a little bit on dynamic scaling issues, which is related to the Atomics upgrade, but that's still in progress of being tested.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. gRPC? Aaron?
Yeah. So we finished up. It's just basically we refactored our model section. We merged in a number of new models. A lot of them are we're getting into the more complex areas. So this is dealing with more like the group store has been giving us some degree of trouble, but that's at least in now. Well, the models for it anyway. And we've completed our sort of design guidelines for people implementing. Most of what's in progress, we have a bunch of services, but they've been pushed off to the side until the rule issue that some of you are aware of which is basically switching now from the booklet, which appears to work, but not if you have symlinks involved, to a Java-based rule that has better access to it. So yeah, we've got, so the brigade in general has been doing good work. It's just on me to unblock the rule problems. So that's, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Aaron. QA? Suchitra or John?
Yeah, so there's a lot of stories. Generally, I guess there's 3 or 4 things that we did. A lot of refactoring, a lot of our tests. So we use common startup procedures, things like that. Fixing a couple minor issues with test-on itself. Introducing a cluster class to make it easier when writing tests to test something on the entire cluster, so just better APIs for that. And then there's a new VPLS test with network failures, and then a performance white paper for like a business version of that. And everything there is done except for refactoring all of our tests to use the cluster class. And then another story that we had was update the QA wiki pages, which we kind of put off till the end. So we just started doing that. And the burn down chart, the big tick towards the end was adding, we didn't have stories for the white paper. So we added those to track that because that got added later on.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Sure. So bug stats, there are 25 bugs resolved in the sprint and 24 were created for a total of 184 open bugs. And then there's 3 bugs that we called out. So the first one is sometimes, well, the summary is links go missing after a node disconnects, but it looks like the real cause is flows are disappearing from the flow restore, which depending on what the flow is could cause links to go missing or intents to fail or whatever. There's another bug which is related to cluster stability if nodes go down. We need to retest that with the Atomic 2.0 changes. And then there's another bug which I thought we had fixed, but we're still seeing it in testing, where if we compile VPLS intents with encapsulation, the intents fail because we're not getting the labels.
Okay, thanks, John. Lisp, Ian?
Hi, I'm gonna give a short report on Lisp system. So in this sprint, we didn't bring new features to Lisp system. Instead, we mainly focused on assessing and improving the performance of inserting and querying the map database with the help of UPMC Lip6 group. And the details experiment are included in the first performance and security report. And I think the first report will be released somewhere in the middle of September. And we also further improved the performance of map server and the resolver. And this is really short summary of the performance improvement. You had around 6% of packet loss with 450K map register message sent out per second. While for map resolver, we had around 5% of packet loss with 600K map request message sent out per second. So overall, process speed has been reduced significantly. And then we are also in the middle of assessing the performance of Reddit tree-based mapping database. And I'm also planning to start working on writing up a tutorial on the use of Lisp subsystem with the existing open source Lisp bar. So this is on my side. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, so we've got Loon Sprint 3 coming up starting next Monday. So we'll have the sprint planning then. This is a 3-week sprint, and by the end of it, we'll have feature freeze. So as you guys are scoping out stories, please keep in mind that by the end of the sprint, everything for the release needs to be reviewed and merged. And then we'll have feature freeze, we'll get a support branch created, and then for those who are continuing with your features, do that on master after we do that. And then, as I noted, we'll do sprint 3 planning on Monday at 3. So by the end of today, I'll close out the JIRA tickets and we'll create new ones for Monday's meeting. Okay, that's it. Any questions or comments? If not, I think we're done with the review. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.